Breaking tonight, new developments in the deadly mass shooting and arson at a Michigan church. Police saying the suspect plowed his car into the Sunday service, then started shooting before setting the building on fire. 2 people dead, at least 8 others hurt, plus multiple devices found at the scene. What investigators are revealing late tonight. Millions on alert for Tropical Storm Imelda, the new track that could dramatically change the forecast for the East Coast. The clock ticking here in Washington ahead of a shutdown showdown, what the president is telling NBC News tonight, plus how it could affect Americans across the country, including at airports coast to coast. Our NBC News exclusive after the indictment of James Comey. President Trump now doubling down on his attacks on another former FBI director. And just in tonight, the new lawsuit to try to block troops in Oregon. The cold case breakthrough in Texas, the high-profile documentary that put the spotlight back on this decades-old mystery, and a suspect now ID'd in the killing of 4 teen girls more than 30 years ago. There's good news tonight about NFL Elementary and how one teacher is hoping to make school easier to tackle.
This is NBC Nightly News with Hallie Jackson.
Good evening. We begin tonight with breaking news out of Michigan and the horrific scene at a church about an hour outside Detroit. You can see the flames ripping through the building here, the smoke thick in the air after police say somebody plowed a car into the church during Sunday service and began shooting, killing at least 2 people before setting that fire. At least 8 other people are in the hospital tonight, and officials fear they may find more victims inside the church. Multiple sources tell NBC News as many as 3 improvised devices were found at the scene. That's the bomb squad you're looking at the suspect's home tonight. Police say he was killed by officers. We're told more than 100 investigators have descended on the area, where the community tonight is in shock and in grief. We have team coverage with our Adrian Broaddus starting us off.
Horror in Grand Blanc, Michigan.
We have an active shooter at the church.
After authorities say a 40-year-old male suspect drove his car through the front door of a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, then fired several rounds with an assault rifle, killing 2 people and injuring others during Sunday's morning service.
The suspect, again, we're in the preliminary stages right now, was neutralized at 10:33:44 in the parking lot of that church. That suspect is a 40-year-old male from the city of Burton, who we identified as Thomas Jacob Sanford.
Officials say hundreds of people were inside.
During all this incident as well, there was a fire that occurred, and we believe that was deliberately set by the suspect. We do believe that we will find additional victims.
The flames engulfing parts of the building, a plume of black smoke filling the air, and as many as 3 improvised devices found at the scene. That's according to 2 senior U.S. law enforcement officials briefed on the investigation.
We're going to do search warrants on the suspect's residence. We're going to find out if there was a motive.
The attack shocking local residents.
I can't actually believe that this would happen in my city. Like, that nothing like this has ever even come close to happening here.
Adrian is joining us now from the scene in Grand Blanc. Adrian, what else are we learning about the victims tonight?
Hallie, authorities are saying tonight 7 of the victims are stable and at least 1 is listed in critical condition. We know 1 of them was treated for smoke inhalation. We're still waiting to hear an update on the others. Hallie?
Adrian Broaddus, thank you. For more on this investigation, we'll bring in our national law enforcement and intelligence correspondent, Tom Winter. So, Tom, given the details that we know so far, it appears there was some degree of planning involved here, right?
That's right, Hallie, and I think that's why you're seeing the bomb squad outside of this individual's house. They're clearly going to look at the devices that they found at the church. What type of planning took place? When did he put together those devices? How was he able to get all of that fired? Did anybody else know about it? You can say the same for the weapon. Did anybody else help him purchase that? That could lead to additional investigative avenues. And then the third investigative avenue, and really the most important one for investigators right now, is what is the motive behind this? What was it in this person's life that made them take this harsh pivot to drive their vehicle into the front of the church door, begin firing, and create this attack? Could that help investigators try to stop these type of incidents in the future? That's something obviously they're going to be focused on.
So pull on that thread, though, Tom, because as always, this idea of motivation is such a critical clue for investigators in any instance like this.
It's such a critical clue because you're going to try to use that to develop some sort of behavioral profile to try to be able to key in on who is responsible and why are we having all of these attacks here in the U.S. And that's something I spent the last week speaking with current and former law enforcement officials in this country. I'm talking about police chiefs. I'm talking about colonels. They are very concerned about the level of threats and the frequency of these attacks here in the U.S. Hallie.
Tom Winter, much more reporting, I know, on this in the hours to come. Appreciate that. Also tonight, millions along the East Coast bracing for a lot of rain with Tropical Storm Imelda brewing in the Atlantic. And in the Southwest, new fallout from devastating and deadly flash floods there. Jesse Kirsch is covering it all.
Tonight, Arizona reeling after authorities say devastating floods killed at least 3 people. Overnight in Phoenix, firefighters rescuing 2 drivers who were trapped. Further east in Globe, Arizona, this new drone video showing streets caked in mud. Crews trying to clean it all up.
I've lived here my whole life, and I've never seen anything like this.
With recovery ongoing out west, a new threat looms off the East Coast, where Tropical Storm Imelda has now officially formed.
I have my shutters ready to go. They're not up yet, but, we'll see what happens.
Right now, Imelda's hitting the Bahamas. The storm's still roughly 200 miles from Florida's coast. And while the storm is expected to become a hurricane by Tuesday, the chances of a U.S. landfall appear to be fading. The latest National Weather Service forecast shows Imelda making a sharp right turn out to sea by midweek. The storm being pulled by major Hurricane Umberto.
Twist like that.
Even from the open water, Imelda could still bring flash flooding to the Carolinas. Some residents near Charleston are bracing for those heavy rains.
You're still not taking chances?
No. Might as well take precautions,
Beach conditions could also be dangerous as far south as parts of Georgia and Florida.
We've got the water at the house and there's plenty of canned goods, so it should be okay. We'll be all right. We just keep an eye on it, and other than that, you would just ride out the storm like we always have.
Jesse joins us now from Charleston. And Jesse, it seems like flooding is one of the biggest concerns where you are.
Yeah, we could be seeing up to 6 inches of rain in parts of the Carolinas. That means flash flooding is still a possibility, even with Imelda expected to stay so far from shore. Hallie?
Jesse Kirsch, thank you. With just over 48 hours to go until the government shuts down, a critical meeting's now set for tomorrow here in Washington, with top leaders expected to huddle at the White House. As Camila Bernal reports, if they can't get to a deal soon, it could affect Americans everywhere, including at the airport.
With the clock ticking, tonight President Trump telling NBC News a government shutdown is in fact a possibility. He's expected to meet the top 4 congressional leaders tomorrow at the White House.
What the Democrats have done here is take the federal government as a hostage.
God forbid the Republicans shut the government down. We'll see on Monday. Are they serious about negotiating with us in a real way?
Finger pointing in Washington, while beyond the Capitol, everyday workers bracing for impact.
During a shutdown, the morale is awful. People don't want to be there. The stress is extremely high.
Dave Dimas is a correctional officer at a high-security federal prison in northeastern Pennsylvania. He plans to take out a loan if Washington can't agree.
My plan for my family is just to keep the same routine every day. We have dance class, we have piano, we have gymnastics. Nothing's going to change. The only thing that's going to change is Dad's not going to get a paycheck.
The White House also indicating some federal workers could be fired, while some, like TSA agents, would still have to show up for work without pay, worrying passengers.
I'm growing concerned about my return flight a week from Wednesday.
Delays in airports are not fun.
During the last shutdown in 2019, there was a rise in the number of TSA workers calling out sick, which could foreshadow headaches for travelers. And it's not just potential TSA delays. Air traffic controllers are also considered essential government employees who would have to show up for work without pay. Hallie?
Camila Bernal, thank you. Also tonight, more on that NBC News exclusive with President Trump telling our Yamiche Alcindor it's another former FBI director in the spotlight tonight, just days after James Comey's indictment. And President Trump's critics now concerned the president's pulling levers of power to get revenge against his political rivals.
Tonight, President Trump, in an exclusive interview with NBC News by phone, doubling down on his attacks against former FBI Director Christopher Wray. The president accusing Ray of lying and alleging he secretly placed hundreds of FBI agents into the crowd before and during the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, saying, "I think Christopher Wray did a terrible job, and we just found out about it. Over 200 people being embedded into that situation. It looks like real agitation. It's a terrible thing that something like that could happen. It was a setup, my opinion. It was a setup, and the FBI was involved." And when questioned about whether the DOJ should launch an investigation, the president saying, "I would certainly imagine, I would think they are doing that." Wray has not publicly responded to the allegations, but President Trump's new comments coming after FBI Director Kash Patel partly contradicted the president's claims. Patel telling Fox News agents were sent into a crowd control mission after the riot was declared by Metro Police, and calling that decision a failure. But tonight, a senior former FBI official with knowledge of the Bureau's actions that day called President Trump and Patel's claims untrue and said no FBI agents were embedded or assigned to crowd control that day. A DOJ Inspector General report last year found no undercover FBI employees were at the protest or at the Capitol. This all happening days after Wray's predecessor, James Comey, was indicted on charges of obstruction and lying to Congress, charges he denies. Vice President J.D. Vance says more prosecutions are on the way.
Well, there's certainly going to be more indictments coming over the next 3.5 years of the Trump administration.
The FBI's former deputy director saying the president's goal is clear.
His intention is vengeance. That is what he's going after. I don't think there's anything that'll stop.
Yamiche is joining us now from the White House. Yamiche, you also asked the president about a big military meeting in Washington this week.
The president told me he plans to attend that rare gathering of hundreds of senior military leaders here in Washington on Tuesday. He said he will tell the officials, quote, how well we're doing militarily. Hallie?
Yamiche Alcindor, thank you. Just in tonight, the state of Oregon and the city of Portland now suing the Trump administration to stop troops from being deployed there. Maya Eaglin is looking into this. Maya, what else do we know?
Hallie, Oregon and Portland specifically are suing President Trump, the Departments of Defense and Homeland Security, along with their secretaries, Pete Hegseth and Kristi Noem. In the complaint, the plaintiffs say that Hegseth called 200 members of the Oregon National Guard into service effective immediately, according to a memo contained in the lawsuit. It comes after the president asked the defense secretary to send any troops he deems necessary to protect ICE facilities in Portland. But since then, Oregon's governor has said that any troop deployment would be unnecessary. Hallie?
Maya Eaglin, thank you. A big shakeup tonight in New York City's race for mayor, a closely watched race with the current mayor dropping out. Eric Adams had trailed well behind the Democratic pick, Zohran Mamdani, and former state governor Andrew Cuomo, who's running as an independent. Adams' popularity had cratered after his federal corruption indictment, and then the move by the Trump Justice Department to drop the charges, arguing it needed Adams' cooperation on the president's immigration agenda. Still ahead for us tonight, the cold case breakthrough in Texas, weeks after the release of a docuseries, how police used DNA to track down a suspect in the killing of 14 girls decades ago. We are back with a breakthrough in a cold case in Texas. The murders of 4 girls at a yogurt shop in Austin, the focus of a new HBO documentary. And now, police, using modern DNA testing, say they've been able to identify a suspect in a mystery that has haunted the city for decades. Here's Ryan Chandler.
Decades after an infamous murder case went cold, police in Texas say they've made a significant breakthrough. 4 teenage girls bound, gagged, and shot in an Austin yogurt shop. The store then set on fire. The gruesome crime, now known as the yogurt shop murders. 34 years later, Austin police say they've identified the suspect as Robert Eugene Brashers using a wide range of DNA testing. He died by suicide in a separate incident with police in 1999. The discovery comes just weeks after HBO put the case back in the national spotlight with a new series on the murders.
I don't think the trauma ever loses its potency.
Highlighting the families and their lingering pain.
It's very frustrating not having answers. It has consumed me.
The families of the victims, Amy Ayers, Eliza Thomas, and sisters Jennifer and Sarah Harbison, left with little closure for years. In 1999, 4 men were arrested, 2 of them tried and convicted. Their convictions later overturned. Now Deborah Brashers, the suspect's daughter, says she's not surprised her father has been tied to this case.
It sounds like my father. It's something my father would do.
Robert Brasher served time for attempted murder in another case, and Missouri authorities linked him to 3 other killings.
If you could speak to your father today, what would you tell him?
I've never truly thought about that. I hate you. He's a coward. He deserves to be here and be put through whatever he put other people through.
Austin police are set to detail their findings Monday, bringing closure to these families who never stopped hoping for answers. Ryan Chandler, NBC News.
When we come back, there's good news tonight about one teacher and her NFL elementary keeping students' heads in the game. There is good news tonight about keeping your eye on the ball and one teacher's mission to bring the gridiron to the 3rd grade.
Clap, clap. Yes, yes.
At Pinecrest Elementary School in Florida,
The Falcons jump from 4th to 2nd. Oh!
Mary Crippen isn't just teaching 3rd grade.
Yes. Clap it up for Sebastian.
She's coaching her students to success, bringing football off the field and into the classroom to make school easier to tackle.
Anything can happen.
Welcome to NF Elementary, inspired by the lesson plans created by a different teacher years ago, Mary's mom, Donna Martinez. At what point did you decide that you wanted to use her curriculum also?
I always wanted to use it. I always admired what she was doing in the classroom.
The goal, to get students' heads in the game.
My kids didn't do their homework. I needed something. My 5th grade boys were not responding, so I needed something.
And now, Crippen is inspiring classrooms across the country. Not just math in her playbook.
What's the percent that has won their division? 51%.
But geography.
Where is the West? Left or right? Left.
And writing, with students sending letters to NFL teams they draft for the season.
Hey, Sebastian, this is Coach Vrabel with the New England Patriots, man.
Many teams responding. Some even sending gifts, like the Lions, the Rams.
Let's give Ollie his moment.
And the Steelers.
I've had moms come to us and say, it's the first time we've had the father and the daughter watch football together. It's the first time this program has brought our family together on the weekends.
As big as this is, so far beyond your classroom, there's also something so deeply personal, because it's you and your mom.
It means a lot that she trusts me to be able to take it and run with it and really just sprint with it.
Coaching the next generation well beyond the classroom.
That's been my favorite part, is the community that it creates, because they can all be with one another and they are all different in their own way, but they can connect over this game.
And that is Nightly News for this Sunday. Stick around for more NFL. The Packers up against the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football next. Tom will be back tomorrow. I'm Hallie Jackson. For all of us here at NBC, thanks for watching and have a great week.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.